Good morning. A little bit of an update on the wind in the Wimmera this morning. There's about bugger all, so not very much. But Murra is putting out 70 megawatts of capacity out of its 429 nameplate capacity. This is a massive issue for Australia, energy reliability and stability. I really am concerned about the policy that this government's put in place. Then I look more broadly about policies this government's put in place. The Brown Range, which is a rare earth mine or proposal run by Northern Minerals. The government has given directives for the Chinese investors to divest, I guess is the word, their investments. And the Chinese are saying, bugger off, we're not doing it. This is a significant issue. I think Richard Marles understands how critical this is, but Tony Albanese, I think, is running absolutely in fairyland. All he's thinking about is Kylie Minogue. This is just not right. We absolutely must have a proper process in Australia. We must have a proper process to authorise investment in critical industries. All these wind and solar farms are all produced in China. We're going to be totally reliant on Chinese parts and engineering. I think we can do a whole lot better. We must have a better electrical supply in Australia. We must look after the Australians. And we can do a whole lot better than what we're doing at the moment with these clowns running a very duplicitous policy on China. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day. It's Ross Johns here from the Wimmera Mallee Environmental and Agricultural Protection Association. The name of the company was Northern Minerals that's trying that Brown Range rare earth project.
And a very good morning. It's a Friday. Oh, thank goodness for that. Looking forward to a lovely weekend of a 14 million kilometre drive to Mount Kosciuszko National Park area, to Cooma. Looking forward to that too, see more of this great country. Also interesting, before we get in just to what's happening around the country, interesting that Ross Johns was referring to Anthony Albanese as Tony Albanese, and referred to his Tony Albanese's admiration of Kylie Minogue. And I would imagine that he would be humming a song. This is Anthony Albanese, will be humming a song about, trying to get Kylie Minogue's attention. But Minogue, I know I'm just being stupid. They get his attention, and it would be, I wish I could be so lucky anyway. So there you are. That's just my small piece of humour at this time of the morning. And it's very hard, by the way, to have that piece of humour, because normally I'm just slapped out of it. Get rid of that humour. Stop trying to be funny. Get back into the field. The Rye Park wind farm near Yass. Oh, I love wind farms. We could be so lucky if they would fall down. Has killed at least 20 wedge-tailed eagles in 18 months. One expert was saying this is a disaster, catastrophe, and devastating for a unique Australian species. But that's what they're doing. They're destroying the planet to save it. A couple of birds. Keep them for Christmas, potato, gravy, yum, roast eagle. But it is terrible. It is a terrible indictment on this country to allow that to happen. Oh, well, it's just a bloody bird. If it moves, shoot it. If it doesn't, chop it down. Can't do that. Can't do anything now. And look at what's happening to the Brumbies, and more about that later in the show. And next week, even though we'll have some normal pieces, it is about the Brumbies. I'm very disturbed. What else is happening? Australian taxpayers, isn't this magnificent, now own nearly half of Tasmania's largest farm after the Clean Energy Finance Corporation backed its sale to UK investors despite farmers' furious objections. Think about it. You want to buy the farm? You want to buy the farm? You want to buy the? You want to buy the farm, or you want to? Okay, I like you, and what we'll do is we'll help you. We'll help stump you up a bit. Where are you from? Oh, the UK. What do you want to do? Oh, you want to put turbines on there. You want to get rid of those farting cows, those 3 dairies and other cattle. Oh, beauty. We'll do that. So that's why we now own nearly half of that farm. And that company wouldn't have got that farm unless the federal government stepped in to help. Why would they do that? It's because they want to take us back before Captain Cook got here. Let's go back to the dinosaurs. Well, we have those in Canberra. So, but it's just terrible. Think about it. It's a very, very bad place to be. And continuing the good news, Jacinta Allen says V-Line services will be free for 2 days to compensate for the disruptions caused by the Telstra outage, saying she expects the telco to fund a dollar-for-dollar refund for those forced to fork out due to cancellations. I wonder if there's an election happening. Hey, there is. That's right. I wonder if it will help her. Most likely not, but who knows. And in the game that was made in heaven, football, AFL football, Freo defeated the Swans. I went to bed last night and it was about 2 points difference with the, I think the Swans were leading still. Freo defeated the Swans 111-73, which is amazing. Fremantle's score of 9-5-59 in the last quarter is the largest fourth quarter score in club history. They were just fantastic. They are odds-on favourite to win the grand final. But who knows? Finals are a different thing. Just look at St Kilda. We haven't won many. Stop it. Don't be nasty. If you want to find out what's happening around the country and to log into some magnificent conversations had by me, joking, well, they are good conversations. They're very good. Got some great ones today. Tried to get a guy yesterday. Jeff couldn't do it anyway. He's gone to his sister's house, right next to the tower. So it should work, providing it's not Telstra's. But if you want to find out what's happening all around the country, just go to the Country Telegraph, our website, or you can go to YouTube or Rumble or Facebook. Thank you, Facebook. Love you. I know the chat's going nuts right now. And even X. We're not working at the moment on X. Not to panic. Elon Musk, because we're part of another org from history. He don't like us, so anyway, so don't worry about that. But Facebook, how magnificent are those Facebookers? Is that what you call them? Anyway, they're fantastic, and thank you. This is the Country Telegraph.
G'day from the Bureau, with your national weather forecast around the country for Friday, the 10th of July. And as we've been talking about all week, this large high pressure system is finally going to move out into the Tasman Sea after a cold and frosty week for many. We're going to see these showers and a couple of rumbles of thunder through southern inland parts of Queensland. Coastal showers will once again continue for parts of Queensland and the New South Wales coast. Another cold, frosty start, but then a sunny day through parts of Tasmania and Victoria. South Australia will start to see an increasing winds and maybe some cloud and showers in the south. And that's all ahead of these multiple frontal systems to sweep across southeastern Australia this weekend, and we'll be watching that one closely. While high pressure brings calmer conditions to southwest WA and much of northern Australia. But let's have a look at all of that in more detail. Firstly, in Queensland, those coastal showers will continue for large parts of the coast and especially around the southeastern parts of the coast as well. But they will be hit and miss, and many areas will stay dry most of the time. Showers and an inland thunderstorm also possible through southern and central inland parts of Queensland, so watch out for that, while it will stay drier further west and north. Temperatures in the low to low 20s through much of southern parts of Queensland, mid 20s in central areas, and high 20s to low 30s through northern areas. Southeast Queensland looking at a few showers, mostly coastal and bayside. Brisbane 21 degrees with those few showers, but long fine breaks. Moving down into New South Wales, and these coastal showers will continue for much of the New South Wales coast, particularly north of around Wollongong, and they'll spread inland as well to our ranges during the afternoon and evening. Further inland though, will stay dry after a cool start and a cool to mild day for this time of year, although a bit chillier and colder down in southern and southeastern parts of New South Wales. Sydney looking at those few coastal showers and 17 degrees. Canberra looking at a cold, frosty start, then a cool and partly cloudy day and 13. Down into Victoria, we're continuing that run of cold, frosty, foggy mornings and then partly cloudy days, but that cold air will linger as well. But tomorrow will be a little bit different as we'll start to see those winds freshen in western and central parts of the state later on. And that's all thanks to this cold front moving into southwestern parts of the state Friday night into Saturday morning. But still cold one on the way tonight with temperatures into the low single figures with frost and fog widespread once again. Temperatures in the low to mid-teens across the state, maybe getting up into the high teens through parts of the Mallee. After a cold, foggy and frosty start in Melbourne, it will be 16 degrees and partly cloudy with those winds picking up during the Friday afternoon and evening. Tasmania looking at a cool day on the way. Not as cold as the last few mornings thanks to that wind and cloud picking up overnight. Nothing too substantial though. Temperatures in the low teens right across the state and staying fairly dry as well. And we too will be watching that weather system move in over the weekend. Hobart looking at 13 degrees and partly cloudy skies after a cool start. South Australia, similar conditions. Those showers and thunderstorms will be on the way out of the northeastern parts of the state on Friday morning. And we're watching this band of showers maybe move inland to some of our coastal areas and Eyre Peninsula and down through the southeast as we get towards the latter part of Friday afternoon and evening with some patchy light rain and showers developing. Maybe a rumble too if we can get there. But generally temperatures will be in the mid to high teens right across the state. Adelaide looking at a few late showers and 17 degrees. Over in WA, and we'll see a front early on, just clip southwestern parts of WA, bringing some showers around the bend there through parts of southwest WA. Otherwise, that quickly clears into the Bight, and we see a fine afternoon and evening through much of the southwest land division. Further inland and east, staying dry and cool to mild. Temperatures in the high teens to low 20s for much of the south and southwest of the state, with temperatures in the mid to high 20s into northern areas as well. Perth looking at a few early showers clearing and 19 degrees. As we move into the top end, as you expect this time of year, dry and sunny right across much of northern Australia. A bit cooler in the south and then low 30s up in the north and also in the Kimberley as well. The only wet weather may just be a few coastal showers about the eastern side of Cape York. Otherwise dry and sunny for many. Darwin looking at 33 degrees and partly cloudy. So if you want the latest forecast for your area and got any plans this weekend, make sure to get the latest forecasts and warnings for your area via our website and app. And I'll be back tomorrow with your weekend forecast around the country.
And welcome back to the Country Telegraph. Instant Polls is our official sponsor. With the cutting-edge software, we can gather your opinions on the topics we discuss daily. And you can tune in for the live results at just after 8 o'clock the next morning. We encourage you to vote on the Country Telegraph poll topics each day. Make your views count. Instant Polls offers a secure, user-friendly, anonymous and cost-effective voting platform that's adaptable to any industry or business. It's an ideal solution for organisations like ours, for example, or larger to engage their teams, gather feedback, drive better management decisions, and unlock deeper insights. Organisations can visit Instant Polls online today and create your organisation's first poll for free under your own brand. Use Instant Polls to increase your bottom line. Now, at the Country Telegraph, you can have your say every day. We're grateful, again, as I said, to Instant Polls for making our program a little more interactive and giving you a fun and easy way to voice your opinions. Now, today's poll, which is showing on my bottom right-hand side, Do you believe the farmers and food production are under attack in Australia? That's, do you believe that farmers and food production are under attack in Australia? Just use the QR code on our screen to vote. Each vote is verified by 2FA, and the system will only allow you to vote once. You have 24 hours to vote before the result is broadcast on the Country Telegraph just after 8. Now, maybe not tomorrow because we have a weekend and I'm on the road heading to Mount Cosie, Osco. The link will also be published on our Facebook page from 9 a.m. Share the link and ask your family and friends to participate. Have your say, because it is all about free speech and we actually are giving you the chance to voice your opinion. My opinion at the moment on the federal government is not very nice. So, because it's a Friday, we have to be a little happy. Don't worry. I have to say that they are destroying the country. What I'm seeing with our fellow Aussies in the Brumbies, what I'm seeing with our beautiful birds and other animals. I've seen photos of koalas and other animals killed in the name of a turbine. I mean, killed by humans too, by the way. So, the RSPCA, where are they? Knock, knock. Who's there? The RSPCA who? Anyway, pathetic, isn't it? It is absolutely pathetic. And now the next thing is we're reading about, which we knew because these towers are so high. Fly into a tower, you're going to find a big blade in front of you. 20 wedge-tailed eagles near at the Rye Park farm there, the turbine farm. It's absolutely just atrocious. There's a group called there's a declaration called the Walker Declaration by this wonderful community at Walker or in Walker in New South Wales. And they are doing a magnificent job. Just sit back and watch this. We'll play how beautiful Walker is. With thanks to Sky or News 24, we'll play you an interview. We're trying to get hold of them, by the way, and we don't know how to. We'd love to even go there and broadcast, but they're very hard to get hold of because there is nowhere to get hold of them. So if you know anyone part of the Walker crowd doing the Walker Declaration and stuff, get them to give us a hoy because we'd like to highlight what they're doing, which is truly inspirational. And then we'll play the Walker Declaration. So this is a magnificent part of the world and a magnificent community. And it shows you that if you don't want government standing on your feet, you've got to fight really hard, but you do have a chance of stopping it.
For years, farmers in New England have been fighting the New South Wales government's renewable energy zone and the transmission lines that come with it. Now that campaign has broadened into something much bigger. The newly launched Walker Declaration is calling for a national rethink of Australia's energy policy, arguing the country's pursuit of net zero is driving up power bills, threatening food security and sacrificing productive land.
We're calling for an urgent review into an energy policy that was never built for purpose. Billions of dollars have been spent on wind and solar projects that only deliver part-time power. Billions more on transmission that's required to bind it all together. And then good money after bad to back up a system where failure is a design feature. The result is a weaker, less resilient but more costly energy system. And the proof of that is in everyone's power bill. Australians are paying more and getting less.
Well, joining me now is one of the founders of the Declaration, Anna Young. Anna, welcome. Let's just start off, if you could please just give our viewers a very quick understanding of how all of this started.
So for our group, particularly the Walker High Country Guardians, last October, it was announced that this corridor, a 305-kilometre transmission project, was going to be moved to us after the government spent $200 million studying a previous corridor. And since then, it's really moved quite quickly. We've united with all the groups across the New England, as well as groups up and down this line, because we knew very quickly how problematic this was. It was very clearly drawn from a desktop in Sydney. And so from there, I guess at a ground level, we knew this project is incredibly flawed and the government aren't listening. It doesn't matter what facts or logic we give, it's not being heard. And so from there, it's grown to talking to other communities outside of just our res. We know that the Central West has been absolutely decimated. They are the guinea pigs. We know down in Victoria, they're fighting this across our country, and the government are just unwilling to listen. And so this declaration really came from, I guess, grassroots perspective, a bunch of very frustrated Australians.
Well, the New South Wales government, they say that renewable energy zones are essential to keep the lights on and deliver cheaper electricity as coal exit the system. And what you guys have been able to say and proving that this is becoming a multi-billion-dollar misallocation of taxpayers' money, and it's actually going to increase power prices and also damage farmland along the way. And we're seeing that. Our power bills are just continuously going up and up and up. And so tell us about the policy reset that you want to see.
So we understand that 5 years ago, when the New England Res was declared in 2021, it looked like it was going to be a great project. It looked like, it could be the right place for wind generation, for solar generation. Since then, there's been a lot of data collected, and 5 years is a long time for new information to come in. And that new information has clearly highlighted how flawed this project is. And so what we know is that over the past few years, what people thought was going to be cleaner, greener, cheaper is just not the case anymore. And so for this project, the transmission corridor is going to cost $20 billion. And the projects up here in the New England have actually just been falling through. It was probably oversized to begin with because of some errors that happened. And the new policy that's come out that the coalition are actually really driving and have suggested at the moment is rethinking the reses. So this res up here, the New England res, capping it where it is because we are already doing our fair share. And then looking at other areas closer to the grid, so around Sydney, Newcastle, Wollongong, as well as areas that are actually crying out for it. Not areas where, like us in the New England, completely new water supplies would be needed. Hundreds and hundreds of trucks from hundreds of kilometres away every single day would need to transport water just to build this res.
And Anna, you recently secured a parliamentary debate after more than 22,000 people signed a petition, which is remarkable by any measure. Now, I was actually sent a photo of this debate, and the Labor side of the chamber was empty. Have you spoken to Premier Chris Minns yet?
Unfortunately, Minns is refusing to meet with us, refusing to talk with us. On that day, 22,000 people cared enough. 22,000 of his constituents cared. And for Premier Minns not to show up or talk to us, to refuse our requests for meetings, just really shows a total disrespect for his state, for the people of his state. It shows a disrespect for farming families, for small businesses. That day was incredibly disappointing. So many of us travelled, over 10 hours return trip to be there, and they had one person speak from Bankstown, and the Labor government speaker only spoke about things from 2021, no reasons why this corridor should proceed, whereas every other speaker there talked about the huge number of flaws in terms of economic disaster, environmental disaster, social disaster. And Minns has no good answer to that. And we're assuming that's why he won't meet, because he knows how problematic and costly this is going to be for all of Australians. It's going to add to their electricity bills. It's going to destroy small businesses. You know, this is something his people should care about.
And there were 200 of you that made the trip into Parliament House. Just quickly before I let you go, I went out to Crookwell and I've seen firsthand the damage it's doing to farmland. We've got about 30 seconds, but just tell us emotionally how this is impacting the farmers in your area, just the thought of what could happen.
It's hugely distressing. It's something that we spend countless hours on every day. These farms are everything to us. We want to get on with feeding the nation. We want to get on with making sure that we can run our small businesses to pass on to our children. And we want to make sure that Australia isn't left in a worse position than we're already being left in because of the financial irresponsibility of this government.
Those that work the land know this. Our lives are drawn from the earth, our food from the soil that we tend. We are custodians. We protect it, we defend it, we seek to share the abundance for the common good.
Australia's prosperity was built on the wise use of its natural bounty. Fertile land, mineral resources, hard work and abundant energy. Energy powers our farms, our industries, our transport and our homes. It sustains modern life and underwrites national strength.
Energy security is economic security. Economic security is national security. A country that cannot rely on affordable, abundant and reliable energy puts its prosperity, its sovereignty and its freedom at risk.
We believe Australia should use all its resources wisely and in a national interest so that our children inherit a country that remains productive, secure and free.
Recent events have shown us how carelessly we have ruined our inheritance. We sit on vast reserves of coal, oil and gas, but we are not fuel secure. We are not fertiliser secure, so we are not food secure. This is a warning. Any future serious disruption to regional sea lanes would cripple the nation and empty our supermarket shelves.
We stand on a simple principle. Political power exists to serve the people, and the first duty of the state is the well-being of the nation and its communities.
We have not been well served. Our liquid fuel security is running dry, and our electricity system has been diverted from delivering cheap, abundant power to chasing targets and slogans. Policy unmoored from physics and economic reality has turned an energy-rich land into a decadent state.
So we reject the sacrifice of productive farmland and natural habitat to sprawling industrial wind and solar estate strung together by vast transmission networks. In a perversion of environmentalism, our landscape is being despoiled in the name of saving the planet.
We're calling for an urgent review into an energy policy that was never built for purpose. Billions of dollars have been spent on wind and solar projects that only deliver part-time power. Billions more on transmission that's required to bind it all together, and then good money after bad to back up a system where failure is a design feature. The result is a weaker, less resilient, but more costly energy system. And the proof of that is in everyone's power bill. Australians are paying more and getting less. Energy users are suffering, while developers from offshore are being subsidised.
This is not nation building, it's a misallocation of capital. The scaling of unproductive generation is delivering a less productive nation. We are willfully turning a rich nation into a poorer one.
No sector is being asked to bear more than agriculture and regional communities. Farmers are expected to yield their land, pay the price of mitigation, shoulder the cost of adaptation, and go on feeding the nation as if none of this has consequences.
Those that live off the land and sustain Australia and many beyond cannot be sacrificed to an energy and climate policy that destroys the economics of production. We say that a free and secure nation producing food and energy in abundance, responsibly and sustainably, is the best contribution Australia can make to society.
We will defend the land we know, the communities we have built, and the legacy we hold in trust for those that come after us. To keep Australia prosperous, sovereign, and free is our duty, and in an uncertain world, our best defence.
Pretty incredible, isn't it? We do need less government, I think, at this stage. It's it's not good at all. And a great effort there by the Walker community. As you know, we're heading off to the to the high country near the Kosciuszko National Park. We're going to do our bit for the Brumbies. Before we get into our next guest, I just want to play this song. We've had many requests for it. Played it yesterday, and we're going to play it again today.
We need to talk about a situation that's been developing in Australia. How our government has been fed lies and now we are facing failure. Our native horses being shot from helicopters and they call this humane. 15 bullets is called overkill, yet some of them take days to die. While our native horses are being shot from the skies, our politicians spin more lies. The numbers they've been fed comes from muddling on rabbits. The politicians swan around and call us stupid Brumby advocates. We have to fight to save the Brumbies. The numbers are dwindling to the ground. I will never stop until we move them from this living hell. Otherwise, there will be no more around. I've written near on 40 pages now and submitted it to court, talking about how inhumane it is for a horse to take days to die. We are in 2026, what the fuck is wrong with us? That a cognitive neuroscientist has to write a report explaining why it's inhumane to leave an animal to die. The ISC say Brumbies are killing our environment, while Snowy 2.0 is having oopsies. Tell me who kills the environment more, us or them? We have to fight to save the Brumbies. Their numbers are dwindling to the ground. I will never stop until we move them from this living hell. Otherwise, there will be no more around. I'm starting to regret being an Australian, because everything I've seen from this government lately is everything that is wrong with man. I will not stop, I will not lay down. I will come marching for you with my intelligence and my arguments and anything I can. If you're with us, then stay with us. Don't fight amongst yourselves. I don't give a shit about what he said, she said. What I care about is now. This is bullshit, and I won't stand for it. Our government's lack of transparency is killing me. We have to fight to save the Brumbies. The numbers are dwindling to the ground. I will never stop until we move them from this living hell. The ISC are a bunch of lobbyists spinning bullshit everywhere they go. I do care about our environment, that's why ISC has to go. I raise eyes to the sky, Brumbies, and ask for your forgiveness. Humans like that don't deserve the positions that we have given them. I'm sorry, we couldn't do more sooner. Your deaths won't be in vain. We will fight so that your name remains in our history as one of Australia's biggest welfare disasters.
And great lyrics too, by the way. Even those rude bits, they enunciate the situation very well. Not that I would ever use those rude bits in my own life much. Terrible though, isn't it? It's a terrible thing that we have this government, or governments, with this ideology and mixed up as the ISC, who are just, you know, I refer to them quite correctly too as bridge gluers. They glue themselves to bridges, you know, roads to stop, and they're now controlling government. It's just incredible, pure propaganda. But how can I've seen some pics? I mean, these magnificent creatures who the locals just love are just being treated like a piece of effluent. Terrible. But it's happening right around the country too, unfortunately. Many on the land feel like they're being treated like, not very well at all, you might say. The wine industry, which I'm from Mildura, St Razia. And St Razia has many, many grapes, many acres, and they're all doing it tough. Before we get into our next guest, I'll just play this clip.
Federal and state governments are under pressure to unlock millions of dollars to help South Australia's struggling wine industry. Growers are ripping out vines and switching to other crops to survive a crisis wrought by an oversupply across the planet.
This should be a thriving McLaren Vale vineyard. Instead, it looks more like a grape graveyard. Winemakers ripping out decades of hard work.
We're getting about a phone call a week for quoting, for looking at vineyards, for people asking us, what can they do next?
Years of oversupply and falling demand mean producers take prices below the cost of production or nothing at all. Many are looking to plant olives or other crops to diversify.
The way it's tracking at the moment is McLaren Vale will be a different place in 5 years' time.
The state opposition says help is already available. It's pointing to a $28 million federal government fund created to help farmers through industry downturns.
It just makes no sense to have millions of dollars sitting on the sidelines while we've got growers right across South Australia who are battling.
A hand up, not a handout, through loans, through no and low concessional loans to allow them to diversify.
The Premier says he's in active discussions with grape growers and will sit down with them in the coming days to determine the best pathway forward.
It's not because of a drought, a fire or a flood or an algal bloom or any other natural disaster. This is simply because people aren't buying what others are selling.
The Primary Industries Minister says the fund requires interest on loans to be increased to commercial rates, limiting its effectiveness.
And that report is from South Australia, but happening right across the country. It's a bit of a tough time in many agricultural sectors right around the country. Australia's small wineries have been hit by a national oversupply. Bulk grape prices to historic lows, and larger corporate groups are uprooting thousands of hectares of vines and listing vineyards for sale. Very sad, very disturbing. I had a couple of nice wines last night. Only two. Interestingly, boutique producers are leaning into premium and alternative varieties. While the commercial wine segment under US $10 a bottle is under severe pressure, premium and luxury wine segments are generally proving more resilient. Ben Thomson is Managing Director of Best Great Western. He's a fifth generation family member who has worked in the family business for over 40 years. Ben is also passionate about maintaining best historically important vineyards, many dating back to the 1860s, which he was born, and not really, and to this end, Ben is also Best Wines Vineyard Manager. Ben, I was very rude about saying that you were born in the 1860s, and I take that back. It was earlier, wasn't it?
It was remarkably a fair bit earlier than that, actually.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like sometimes you think, oh man, I feel like I'm 300 years old, and you go,
well,
far from the truth.
Yeah, it does actually. I've seen a lot of, born into it. So I've been, I'm 60-something years old. So, my first memories are of the winery, and I've seen many, many changes come through the industry over the years, and it's quite amazing where we are. And I think the Australian wine industry is very resilient, and we can make wine that people enjoy.
Tough times though at the moment. Just tell us where we're at nationally.
Oh, it's very, very tough. We still have an oversupply of wine. I don't know how many litres are still in tank and of what quality they are in tank, but no, it's not good. And it basically sort of started with the tariffs in China. Then I think COVID didn't help when we came out of COVID, and now the change in drinking styles, I think, is a big thing with the health and everything like that. I shouldn't say it, but I feel quite confident going forward for some stupid reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I believe in our product. Believe that, you know, we can still sell it, but it is very, very tough. And I'm not saying we're doing it easy. We're, you know, scraping the bottom of the barrel every day as well, sort of thing. So, but it is tough, very tough.
How do we get out of it? I mean, it's easy to say, oh, we do this or we do that, but you did mention that lifestyles are changing, and I always thought that grape juice was good for you. I just can't understand the reluctance to have a tipple every now and then. But and maybe, I mean, because it's people go on, oh, it's alcohol, it's bad for you. If you do it in moderation and do it properly, it does enhance your whole life process, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, well, my dad, I think he just turned 87. I should know, it was his birthday just the other day. 87, and he's had 2 or 3 glasses of wine every night, probably since he was about 20, and he's still pretty fit as far as I can see. But that's right. You do everything in moderation, and you know, there's a lot of banter about, you know, it's not healthy for you. It's not, you know, the anti-cancer council are saying it's bad for you, blah blah blah, and all this sort of stuff. But you know, it's like anything. If you do everything in moderation, it's fine. So that's the big thing. I think tastes have changed, but tastes have always changed. I remember when you couldn't sell Shiraz. You know, there's so much Shiraz around, and Chardonnay, you know, you couldn't grow enough Chardonnay, but you couldn't, you know, get rid of Shiraz. And then you couldn't get rid of Chardonnay, you could, you know, move Shiraz easy. So it always changes, but this is a big dip. And I think, you know, in hindsight, if we'd all had the smarts, and I'm not saying anyone in particular, but if the whole industry had the smarts and seen the, you know, done things a bit different during the tariffs with China, that, you know, we may not be in this position. We maybe, but it's just, you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing in anything you do, sort of thing. So
it is. I hate that word hindsight, because you go, oh,
yeah,
I've done that, but that's part of a part of living.
Wish I had, should have done
Actually, I wasn't going to mention it, but I got a call from the CFA the other day about your dad's birthday, because they said you put on 87 candles, and they were a bit afraid you might burn down the whole world.
I don't think the cake was quite that big, actually.
Oh, that's terrible. So it was just a candle with a bit of something under it.
Yeah, I think it was, actually.
Wish your dad a happy birthday too. He doesn't look a day over, you know. Look, what about the, because we have the leader of the universe is Donald Trump, and the war in or the conflict in the Middle East with the Strait of Hormuz. It's finished. It's not finished. It's going to go on for a long time. How has that impacted, for example, your business in the running cost, and maybe other businesses too throughout Australia?
Right, you know, running costs are up and down like a yo-yo. But I think the biggest thing is with it all, there's just so much uncertainty. The whole world is just walking a tightrope at the moment. We don't know what's going on, and we've got people in other countries and places that never stick their hand in their own pocket making decisions on your business. And I think that's in all businesses, and especially you know, agriculture. I'm not a farmer, but I'm still agriculture. And I think that's the thing that upsets me more than anything. You've got people making decisions about your own business who have never had to stick their hand in their own pocket and pay for anything. I think when you start paying for stuff, you start making, you know, you pull your money out of your own pocket, you start making much wiser, smarter decisions. But when you're not dealing with your own money, people make decisions that just don't make sense.
Oversupply is a major issue. Now we've got to be fair too, because I mean, when I lived in Mildura, it was amazing. They would, you know, rip out vines, put in new ones. The cycle went on. This is not, though, the fault of the grower. The grower is just following a trend. What were some of the? I mean, we talk about how they say it's not healthy for you. Which again is mainly just a distortion of the truth.
Yeah.
How do we fix that? Because I would probably think that part of the reason why there's an oversupply is because the demand is down, and so we have to get the demand up. Now, if government and other organisations are saying that it's bad for you, you're going to have you're already walking into the headwinds, sailing into the headwinds. So how do we how do we remarket or rebrand or start to promote the benefits of having a delightful wine, and truly one or two, every now and then a couple more. It's actually very good for your mental health, provided you don't go overboard.
It's extremely important for my mental health. I can tell you, a couple of glasses certainly helped me.
Breakfast.
I don't know how we convince the minor groups that it's not all bad for you. Everything's bad for you. If you probably eat too many tomatoes, it'll give you something. If you eat too much of this, it'll do something. Everything, we've just got to get that message across, that everything in moderation, but that's in everything in life. And that I just don't know how we convince, certain groups that if everything's done in moderation, it's fine for you. I don't see these sort of campaigns against beer as much as it is against wine. Alcohol's alcohol in my book, and I don't understand why beer and that is not treated the same or get the same publicity as wine does by certain groups. It just seems a bit strange to me.
It is, and this is the. I don't believe in conspiracies, although if you have an idea about something and it becomes a truth, it's not a conspiracy anyway, and we just have to go back 5 years. But you still. And we all know where we're going with that one, which I won't go. But
I don't open that can of worms.
Well, no, it's interesting because large collectives can move a demand or populations to a particular point. And you mentioned beer, for example. I like a beer every now and then. I'm not a great fan of beer because it's sort of it's a bit bloating or whatever. I like a whiskey. Don't go overboard. We have to sort of, I think anyway, we need to really promote the benefits and not the local stuff. Don't say, it's Australian. Just to say that a glass of wine with your meal actually is a fantastic idea. It's been done for thousands of years. And look at your dad, thousands of years old.
Well, the interesting thing, a person said to me a while ago, the world's going to stop drinking wine. I said, mate, I don't think so. We've been drinking wine for 6,000 or 7,000 years. Longer than beer, longer than whiskey, longer than RTDs, longer than it'll always be drank. It's just moderation, and trends will change. There's no doubt at the moment. The trend is to lighter style wines, which is fine. We've just got to learn to adapt and to learn how to make those wines. Whether we have to do replanting or different winemaking styles or what we do, but we'll be able to do it. We've just got to try and move this glut on that we've got in tank at the moment. And if we can get a reset, I think the industry will be fine. But there's going to be some very hard and sad decisions to be made along the way, which is the very unfortunate bit. And I think the hardest problem at the moment is without some government help, it's going to be very difficult for some growers to get out if they decide they want to get out. I think it's very expensive to pull out vineyards and replant. So, a lot of people at the moment are probably sitting on their vineyards going, well, I can't afford to get out, but I can't afford to stay either. So it's very difficult, and I feel very sorry for these people. And like I said, we're not rolling in it or anything like that, and we're doing it tough as well, and we're having these decisions and these thoughts all the time. But it is going to be very painful for some people, and my heart goes out to these people, because I know what it's like to be a grape grower. When you permanent plantings, you can't just I'll plant tomatoes next year, and I'll do olives the year after. And when you've got permanent trees, permanent plantings, it's it's a long-term investment and long-term goal.
It's a tough life. I still can't get used to pruning. God really didn't make humans to prune. I can tell you that.
I was out pruning for a couple of hours yesterday when the sun came out. I didn't go out when it was frosty, I've got to admit. I was getting a bit soft in my old age, I think. But I did go and do a bit of pruning for a couple of hours yesterday afternoon in the sunshine. It was beautiful.
How good are your gloves? They've got to be nice and thick.
No, I didn't even need the gloves. The sun was out.
Show me your fingers.
Yeah. Had the jumper off.
Hold your hands. Show me your hands. Gee, you got all your fingers.
Yeah, I'm still old school. I use a hand ones, not electric, so that's probably why I've still got them.
Good on you. Too scary for me, but I used to think, and the picking. I mean, I honestly believe that we had terrible neighbours that would bring all these spiders down and snakes just when I was picking those bins of or buckets of grapes. I'll tell you, it was the hardest job I've ever done. Tell me about bubbly. I mean, because I know you're a bubbly sort of person. What about your product? How's that going?
Our white Shiraz, our new carbonated Shiraz, which we pick it, bring it, press it straight away, and get it off skin straight away. And we've been turning that into a white Shiraz. So it's gaining momentum. It's something different. We just thought we've got to try and think outside the square. So it's getting a bit of people getting used to the idea, because people saying, "Oh, well, hang on, what's going on? This is a bit dodgy." But no, it's starting to move ahead, and also with the white table wine Shiraz, it's very slowly starting to get a bit of momentum. But it's like anything new that you try on the market, everything takes a while to get going, and we're not the only company trying new things. There's lots of wineries out there trying to do different products, lighter styles, and blah blah blah. So I think if we watch this space, we'll see some interesting stuff come out of it. But yeah, this is the worst I've ever seen in the industry, and Dad's also said the same. It's the worst he's ever seen in the industry. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's just a very, very long tunnel, this one at the moment. So I think
it's tough.
It's tough. And a lot of the time it's heartbreaking. You go to work and you don't feel real good some days. But anyway, most people in the agricultural industry are pretty tough and resilient. The thing is, though, if you are getting down, make sure you go and talk to someone, because I've had a few incidents where I felt a bit down and a bit dumped. So that's an important thing for anyone in the agriculture at all. If you're having a bit of a hard time, make sure you go and talk to someone.
You have to do that. My dad, same thing. He was a copper that decided to start growing citrus and stuff, and he performed whinging to. I think he would have won an Olympic gold medal. And you'll be pleased to know that his son has inherited his talent at whinging, because I do that too much.
It's either too hot, or it's too cold, it's too windy, it's too dry, it's bloody ground's too hard, it's bloody bushfires.
That's on a good day.
Oh yeah. Wait till we really get going.
It's pretty wild, I got to say. Just quickly, because we need to know what we have to partake this weekend. What's your favourite drink?
I've got to say my favourite drink of all time is Pinot Meunier, and that's probably sentimental to me, because Dad was the first person to make a straight table wine Pinot Meunier, and I'm very fortunate to drink 20 and 30 and 40-year-old Pinot Meuniers, and they're just absolutely fantastic. I love Reef. I love all wines, actually.
Good on
you. But Pinot Meunier is probably closest to my heart, because it's more of a sentimental wine. And I think it's just a fantastic wine, and a lot of people don't get to experience Pinot Meuniers because there's not very many made in the world.
I always found watching, when you go and see these sommeliers and all those that taste the wine and they spit it out, and I'd always look and think, what the hell are you doing? You don't spit it out, you finish it.
I'm a bit guilty of not spitting it out, to be honest. So.
Right. And the fourth or fifth tasting would be very favourable to that particular vintage. If somebody wants to find out more about Best, how do they do that?
Just go to our website, just Best's Wines at Great Western. And it's funny, Henry Best, who actually started the winery, he would have no idea that having the name Best's would be so good for Google searches.
That's fantastic. Don't trust Google, by the way.
Or Chrome or whatever, the internet sort of thing. So
pretty wild, isn't it? But anyway, other stories. Ben Thomson, thank you so much for your time. And tonight I'm having, what am I having? I'm driving to Mount Kosciuszko tomorrow, so probably tonight it'll be a very light one because early up with a sparrow fart, as we would say, tomorrow morning. But thank you, sir, for your time. All the best.
No worries. Cool.
Understand where you're coming from entirely. This is the Country Telegraph.
Thanks, mate.
I didn't choose this life. I was born to live it. So was Dad, his dad, and his dad before that.
Come on, ladies.
You're supposed to be slowing down, you know.
It's payback for all the free labour you got out of me as a kid.
I learned from watching my mum and dad and how they work together. So does my sister Sally.
Any trains? I don't. Feet up.
I'll always remember these days. It's the happiest days of my life. Together as a family.
Oh, you're so lucky I love you.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that about right, is it?
I don't know how you're going to deal with all this. Deal with what? $6 million debt? Most farmers are in this amount of debt. As farmers, we gamble with the weather every day, and it's a risk we take. You have no idea what I'm going through. Maybe you should talk to someone. Oh my God, no, I'm fine. No, you're not, Alison.
You and your dad's coward.
Play a game of footy, all right?
Where's heaven?
What?
Where's heaven?
The sky, I think.
Can we go there?
Kona Creek's 46,000 acres, but it's not about the scale, it's about the project you're working on that day. It's breaking the problem down into small bits, solving that problem, and then moving on to the next one.
Yeah, and then also the patterns are all the same. It doesn't matter how big, small the place is. You're looking for the same patterns everywhere in Australia. Whether you're a high rainfall or a low rainfall, it's the same patterns, just a different landscape.
We're Ra and Tina Briggs, Kona Creek, west of Springsure. We are fortunate that we've got these watersheds. It's important to have a whole of system approach to it because it all fits together, you know.
And it's really important that you have a plan. So our plan was we started at the top, but everything that you do has a flow-on effect, and we are seeing that flow-on effect. We do want to restore the wetland that's in the bottom, and Ra's put in quite a few check banks. We've slowed that flow, the water backs up, there's been a level of deposition and biodiversity, growth, like the birds and the trees and the plants, and underneath the trees it's all beautiful and green and it's cooler.
Yeah, that's right. And little projects like a food foresty type situation or a wetland, they don't take up much room. You know, we're talking tenths of a % of area. So why not? You know, why not do something that's a bit of fun and a learning experience as well? And I say the words give something back, but we're gaining much more than we're giving.
So by doing this, that's our way to make sure that every acre does count. So when it comes to reading the landscape, for us, in the beginning, Ra had done heaps of research into ways of making the land better, and that's when he came across natural sequence farming. When we got back from Tarwin Park training, as we drove in, we were looking at the landscape with very different eyes from when we left, but still unsure of where to start, and that's when your analysis paralysis sets in, but that's not an excuse for not starting.
It's very easy to get lost in the detail, especially when you fire up a machine and start pushing dirt. So having a clear objective, whether you get it flying around or walking around or what, you need that start, middle, finish.
Make a decision and start.
Everyone loves the environment. I mean, nobody wants to live in an eroded landscape, drought-ravaged hellhole. We all want nice things, you know, and this has become our major drought reduction strategy.
So I feel like I've discovered my life's work, improving this place, and
the results that we're seeing are amazing.
And driving big yellow machines is fun too.
And we're back again. Thank you so much for your company on the Country Telegraph. Just love the bush. It's got a lot to offer, and they are, for some reason, under attack. A lot of it's the renewable reason, wind farms and things like that. We're going to talk about wind farms and wind droughts in particular very shortly. But first of all, we ran a poll yesterday. What is your opinion on the RSPCA's decision to support the aerial culling of brumbies in Kosciuszko National Park? And now the results summary. The majority of respondents, 92.59%, voted that the subject was inhumane and cruel, while only 3.7% voted that it was compromised. A small percentage, 2.47%, mentioned they don't care, which is terrible, and 1.23% strongly agreed with the decision. Notably, there were no respondents who somewhat agreed or were unsure. Analysing the demographics, the age group of 50 to 59 had the highest participation, followed by 60 to 69, and in my case, 330 to 400. Within these age groups, the prevalent sentiment was being inhumane and cruel. In terms of gender, females dominated the responses. Females mostly voted that the subject was inhumane and cruel. Geographically, New South Wales had the highest number of responses, with the majority with the decision. Interesting, isn't it? New South Wales. But that's where it's happening, the cull at the moment in the Kosciuszko National Park. Overall, the poll had high engagement and provided clear insights that the majority of respondents, particularly females, and those in the age groups of 50 to 69, voting it was inhumane and cruel. The data suggest a strong sentiment against the inhumane nature of the subject amongst the participants. And that's our first poll from yesterday. Now, looking at what's making news around the country, the Rye Park wind farm near Yass has killed at least 20 wedge-tailed eagles. Now, this is a disaster, according to most, a catastrophe and devastating for a unique Australian species. Australian taxpayers now own nearly half of Tasmania's largest farm after the Clean Energy Finance Corporation backed its sale to UK investors, despite farmers' furious objections. Why should we have, 3 dairies and cattle? I mean, what we need is, wind farms, turbines, more turbines. We also need pine trees, so that's what he's going to do. Incredible, isn't it? Absolutely incredible. Jacinta Allen says V-Line services will be free for 2 days to compensate for the disruptions caused by the Telstra outage, saying she expects, fingers crossed, the telco to fund a dollar-for-dollar refund for those forced to fork out due to cancellations. And finally, the game made in heaven. Freo defeated the Swans last night 111 to 73. When I went to bed, I think the Swans were winning, or just about winning, and incredible. Fremantle's score of 9-5, which is 59 in the last quarter, is the largest fourth quarter score in club history. It was incredible. And I went to bed, but I have to maintain my beauty sleep. I'm looking for a miracle at the moment. It's not working. If you want to find out more about what's happening around Australia, whether it's local, state-wise or national, make sure you always log into and watch us either live or on replays on Rumble, YouTube, X and also Facebook.
G'day from the Bureau with your national weather forecast around the country for Friday the 10th of July. And as we've been talking about all week, this large high pressure system is finally going to move out into the Tasman Sea after a cold and frosty week for many. We're going to see these showers and a couple of rumbles of thunder through southern inland parts of Queensland. Coastal showers will once again continue for parts of Queensland and the New South Wales coast. Another cold, frosty start, but then a sunny day through parts of Tasmania and Victoria. South Australia will start to see an increasing winds and maybe some cloud and showers in the south. And that's all ahead of these multiple frontal systems to sweep across southeastern Australia this weekend, and we'll be watching that one closely. While high pressure brings calmer conditions to southwest WA and much of northern Australia. But let's have a look at all of that in more detail. Firstly, in Queensland, those coastal showers will continue for large parts of the coast and especially around the southeastern parts of the coast as well. But they will be hit and miss, and many areas will stay dry most of the time. Showers and an inland thunderstorm also possible through southern and central inland parts of Queensland, so watch out for that, while it will stay drier further west and north. Temperatures in the low to low 20s through much of southern parts of Queensland, mid 20s in central areas, and high 20s to low 30s through northern areas. Southeast Queensland looking at a few showers, mostly coastal and bayside. Brisbane 21 degrees with those few showers, but long fine breaks. Moving down into New South Wales, and these coastal showers will continue for much of the New South Wales coast, particularly north of around Wollongong, and they'll spread inland as well to our ranges during the afternoon and evening. Further inland though, will stay dry after a cool start and a cool to mild day for this time of year, although a bit chillier and colder down in southern and southeastern parts of New South Wales. Sydney looking at those few coastal showers and 17 degrees. Canberra looking at a cold, frosty start, then a cool and partly cloudy day and 13. Down into Victoria, where we're continuing that run of cold, frosty, foggy mornings and then partly cloudy days, but that cold air will linger as well. But tomorrow will be a little bit different as we'll start to see those winds freshen in western and central parts of the state later on. And that's all thanks to this cold front moving into southwestern parts of the state Friday night into Saturday morning. But still cold one on the way tonight with temperatures into the low single figures with frost and fog widespread once again. Temperatures in the low to mid-teens across the state, maybe getting up into the high teens through parts of the Mallee. After a cold, foggy and frosty start in Melbourne, it will be 16 degrees and partly cloudy with those winds picking up during the Friday afternoon and evening. Tasmania looking at a cool day on the way. Not as cold as the last few mornings thanks to that wind and cloud picking up overnight. Nothing too substantial though. Temperatures in the low teens right across the state and staying fairly dry as well. And we too will be watching that weather system move in over the weekend. Hobart looking at 13 degrees and partly cloudy skies after a cool start. South Australia, similar conditions. Those showers and thunderstorms will be on the way out of the northeastern parts of the state on Friday morning. And we're watching this band of showers maybe move inland to some of our coastal areas and Eyre Peninsula and down through the southeast as we get towards the latter part of Friday afternoon and evening with some patchy light rain and showers developing. Maybe a rumble too if we can get there. But generally temperatures will be in the mid to high teens right across the state. Adelaide looking at a few late showers and 17 degrees. Over in WA, and we'll see a front early on, just clip southwestern parts of WA, bringing some showers around the bend there through parts of southwest WA. Otherwise, that quickly clears into the Bight, and we see a fine afternoon and evening through much of the southwest land division. Further inland and east staying dry and cool to mild. Temperatures in the high teens to low 20s for much of the south and southwest of the state, with temperatures in the mid to high 20s into northern areas as well. Perth looking at a few early showers clearing and 19 degrees. As we move into the top end, as you expect this time of year, dry and sunny right across much of northern Australia. A bit cooler in the south and then low 30s up in the north and also in the Kimberley as well. The only wet weather may just be a few coastal showers about the eastern side of Cape York. Otherwise dry and sunny for many. Darwin looking at 33 degrees and partly cloudy. So if you want the latest forecast for your area and got any plans this weekend, make sure to get the latest forecasts and warnings for your area via our website and app. And I'll be back tomorrow with your weekend forecast around the country.
And welcome back to the Country Telegraph. Instant Polls is our official sponsor With the cutting-edge software, we can gather your opinions on the topics we discuss daily. And you can tune in for the live results at around 8 a.m. the next morning. We encourage you to vote on the Country Telegraph poll topics each day and make your views count. Instant Polls offers a secure, user-friendly, anonymous and cost-effective voting platform that's adaptable to any industry or business. It's an ideal solution for organisations such as ours or even larger to engage their teams, gather feedback, drive better management decisions and unlock deeper insights. Organisations can visit instantpolls.online today and create your organisation's first poll for free under your own brand. Use the Instant Polls to increase your bottom line. At the Country Telegraph, you can have your say each day, Monday to Friday. And we're grateful again to Instant Polls for making our program more interactive and giving you a fun and easy way to voice your opinions. Now, today's poll, which you can see in my bottom right-hand corner, do you believe that farmers and food production are under attack in Australia? That's, do you believe that farmers and food production are under attack in Australia? Just use the QR code on our screen to vote. Put the phone up and there you are. Each vote is verified by 2FA and the system will only allow you to vote once. So if you're thinking about cheating, don't. You have 24 hours to vote before the result is broadcast on the Country Telegraph. The link will also be published on our Facebook page from 9 a.m. And share the link, ask your family and friends to participate because we often hear about free speech. We actually do practice it. And whatever your opinion, it is always welcome, providing it's always nice about me. Not really. This is the Country Telegraph. And welcome back to the Country Telegraph. A wind drought or prolonged low wind event is typically defined as a period where wind speeds fall into the slowest bottom 20%, typically recorded for a region. So it's incredibly, not concise, but it's very, very important that we have wind for our turbines. And wind droughts is not something that the turbine requires. So it was that South Australia's power grid was tested recently with several days of strong winds, followed quickly by the state's most severe wind drought in years. Incredible, isn't it? According to open electricity data, after wind energy supplied 87.1% of South Australia's electricity needs on June 18. Only days later, on June 21, 3 days later, it contributed just 3.8% to the state's electricity consumption. So what then are the implications for the grid and energy supply? As Senator Malcolm Roberts says, not the renewables, but the unreliables. Our next guest is Rafe Champion, who grew up in far northwest Tasmania on a dairy farm and studied agricultural science at the University of Tasmania with postgraduate studies in Adelaide. He switched to social science with a master's in sociology and the history and philosophy of science. Rafe has written several books, including with Jeff Grimshaw on climate science and energy issues. Rafe, thank you very much for joining us.
It's great to be back, Mike. Great to be back.
Yes, long time no speak. We still have all these turbines been popping up all over the place and destroying the planet to save the planet. In other words, what's your thoughts on this proliferation of these turbines? Are we sort of? I've got to be careful here. Are we shooting against the wind? Because sometimes there is no wind.
Well, no wind, no wind power. It's as simple as that. the most important thing to understand is that the wind and solar system, they're no better than their lowest point. Like a fence, a dam, flood levee, weakest link in the chain. Don't bother with the high points, look at the low points. At the low point, the windless night, no sun, no wind. That should have been apparent from the very beginning. There was no due diligence, no check on the wind reliability, no check, didn't bother about nights, and the meteorologists never bothered to sound a warning about low winds, and they know perfectly well that they occur every time there's a high pressure system that lingers over the continent. Always happens, high pressure system, low wind, night time, no sun, end result, no unreliable energy, gone, finished, it's all over. I mean, we're in the last stage of the death throes of the net zero campaign, but there's still going to be horrific assaults on our farmlands and forests before the lunatics have finished.
Yeah, the lunatics, I mean, I once saw that movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. They're doing a remake in Canberra. It's terrible. But it's this ideology, isn't it, Rafe? And that doesn't augur well for our future. If you look at the wind droughts, but look at the renewables. When South Australia's recently had that, what was it, 87% or thereabouts, and then 3.8%. When they hit 3.8%, what about the batteries? Because they go on about the batteries. They're going to save our day too. Now, do they seem to work?
For a few minutes, or even an hour or two. But you're talking about a single battery that's asking for an hour or two. Just to get the numbers in perspective, to get through a windless night, you need about 200 megawatt hours of storage. Right now, despite the explosion of batteries over the last 12 months or more, you looking for 200 gigawatt hours, we got about 18. So we just got a few hundred to go.
When
it's a silly joke. It's just a joke.
Yes, but it is, and I'm just thinking the consumers. They've all swallowed or drunk the Kool-Aid. Propaganda is working very well here because most of them still think, we're saving the planet. And we just mentioned a story before, a bit of a sidebar here, that the Rye Park wind farm near Yass has killed 20 wedge-tail eagles. That's just documented on those, and it's quite well known that they're terrible for the environment. But the general populace has swallowed the Kool-Aid. How do we get through? How do we cut through the noise and to tell them the actual truth that the renewables are just ideology, just probably a bad dream?
It's desperately simple, Mike. Desperately simple. What you need to do going forward is to put up a display of the site, the NemWatch widget or the NemWatch app, that gives you a minute-by-minute picture of how much the different sources are contributing to the power supply. And on that widget you can see wind power in green, and you can see that sometimes there's just next to no green. And what we have to do, and what One Nation has to do, is getting all of their people doing wind watching at dawn and dusk, or breakfast and dinner time, so they can see with their own eyes the wind droughts. And you get the youngest member of the family to do it, a child can do it, and they can report at breakfast time and say, we wouldn't be getting this hot if it was depending on the wind and sun. So they can brief the family, and then they can go to school and tell their friends. Simple as that.
It's incredible because once we rely totally on the unreliables, tell me, how will the... I mean, you've been around probably as long as I have. I just have better lighting.
Much longer.
Well, you don't look it, sir. You could be still playing for my club in football. But I'm just, how will Australia look once we have total dependence on the renewables?
Well, if you ever go up in the country and have a look at the renewable energy zones, it'll break your heart. Break your heart. I mean, Steve Nowakowski's given the view from the air, blasting the tops off the range. Get on the ground and it's just hard. It'll make you weep. I've been up there with the farmers. No, we've got to get to the people to watch the wind and become alert and just put really serious pressure on the politicians to stop the nonsense.
What about the Weather Bureau? I mean, because I always get nervous with this, because if I ever mention the Weather Bureau or the weather, I know that, and especially if I'm going to wash the car or have a barbecue, that as soon as I mention, see, already I've done it, I know it's going to be a torrential downfall before I know it. But the Weather Bureau, do they actually acknowledge wind droughts?
Well, I never noticed them. No, this goes back to the evil empire in the United Nations climate policy. It's all about alarmism, and the World Meteorological Organization, which is the official international body of meteorologists, they were foundation members of the Climate Alarm Club. So they were never going to, and they systematically reinvent the figures to make the warming look worse, and there's no way they're going to tell us about wind droughts, because if they did that, we wouldn't have all these windmills about the place.
Yeah.
Pretty simple, really.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. But the propaganda, and the more you throw back at them just common sense and facts and figures, the more they dig their heels in. And if you look at the Great Dividing Range, which is up north from where you are at the moment, it's atrocious what they're doing to that particular part of the world, and the wildlife that is being just disposed of. You just got to wonder, where's this country heading? And the same thing with the Brumbies. I mean, they're a part of our history. We need to treat our animals with a lot more respect. And at the moment, you see Chris Bowen, and someone refers to him as the toad. This Murray Watt, the toad, because wherever a toad goes, it destroys the environment. And this guy says wherever Murray goes, he destroys the environment. But these people, they have an ideology, and they're not at all interested in anything else except buggering this country up, and that's what I think anyway. Rafe, if somebody wants to find out more about you, how do they do that?
Oh, they could go to my website, or they could go to my Substack. The Substack's probably the place to go.
Fantastic. Just quickly, do you follow AFL football?
Oh, I follow the Mighty Demons.
Yeah, but they're snobby club. That's the Melbourne, the snobby club. They're doing pretty well. Can't believe it.
Well, they've turned the corner quicker than people expected. No, I regard them as decent, friendly, well-mannered boys. and that's in contrast to the thuggish Collingwood players.
Oh, they're terrible. They're awful. Collingwood.
They just bashed up the poor Melbourne boys in the 1958 grand final, something ghastly. Never forget it. Infamy of 1958.
I'm a St Kilda supporter, and we had a reputation in the 60s at times of going out playing, but you've had a few drinks at half time. And
a smoke as well.
And a smoke as well. I mean, anyway, I won't go there because I'm a massive St Kilda supporter, and I keep telling everybody that we are the most professional club ever. We just haven't won many grand finals, just one against Collingwood. But
you won that. You had quite a strong Tasmanian contingent in those days, led by Darryl Baldock.
Yeah, we did.
And John Bonney, he's a local boy from my part of Tasmania. No, there's a bit of a connection between the northwest coast of Tasmania and St Kilda during that time.
But no more. Once you have the Tassie Devils, Rafe, which you'll be following, I would imagine, with interest. But and I think Nathan Buckley will end up being the coach there too. Rafe, champion, thank you so much. You are a champion, sir. Just you need to change football clubs because they're a bit snobby, you know. Rafe, champion, thank you so much for your time. This is the Country Telegraph.
Covering Climate Now launched in 2019 to standardise climate coverage across mainstream media outlets. It tells newsrooms how climate must be framed, that is, as an emergency, as the dominant story, and as requiring immediate political action. Over 500 media outlets follow its guidance, including Reuters and NBC, CBS, ABC, PBS, Al Jazeera, and the Weather Channel. Editors know in advance which questions are encouraged and which are not, and journalists know which conclusions are acceptable and which will end their career. That is why climate coverage looks identical everywhere. Science advances through doubt, journalism through scrutiny. Covering Climate Now suppresses both. Covering Climate Now launched in 2019 to standardise climate coverage across mainstream media outlets. It tells newsrooms how climate must be framed, that is, as an emergency, as the dominant story, and as requiring immediate political action. Over 500 media outlets follow its guidance, including Reuters and NBC, CBS, ABC, PBS, Al Jazeera, and the Weather Channel. Editors know in advance which questions are encouraged and which are not, and journalists know which conclusions are acceptable and which will end their career. That is why climate coverage looks identical everywhere. Science advances through doubt, journalism through scrutiny. Covering Climate Now suppresses both. Covering Climate Now launched in 2019 to standard.
How can the New South Wales Government applaud the creation of the Great Koala National Park while they approve the destruction of their habitat elsewhere? True conservation isn't a press release. It's stopping the clearing. The Walker High Country Guardians will hold you accountable.
Burrinjuck Dam is 98 years old. It was completed in 1928, and the concrete is deteriorating from the inside out through a process called alkali silica reaction, which is an irreversible chemical expansion that causes cracking and weakens the structure over time. In 1937, engineers discovered structural weaknesses so serious they drew up evacuation plans for 20,000 people living downstream, and the dam has only aged since then. Right now, Burrinjuck holds 1,026 gigalitres, but the catchment it sits on covers nearly 13,000 square kilometres and routinely delivers far more water than the dam can store. In October 2022 alone, around 1,200 gigalitres flowed into Burrinjuck in a single month, more than its entire capacity. And the excess had nowhere to go but downstream into communities that ended up flooded. That year was Australia's costliest natural disaster on record, with $5.56 billion in insured losses and 10 million tonnes of grain destroyed. The proposal is to rebuild Burrinjuck with a new wall that takes capacity from 1,026 gigalitres to 4,000 gigalitres, which is an additional 3,000 gigalitres of storage. To put that in perspective, the federal government has spent $7.2 billion recovering approximately 2,100 gigalitres through buybacks under the Basin Plan, and buying 3,000 gigalitres on the open market at current prices would cost anywhere from $27 billion to $60 billion. Building the storage costs between $4 and $6 billion. On top of that, a rebuilt Burrinjuck could generate 100 to 200 megawatts of hydroelectric power, bringing in $40 to $60 million a year in energy revenue. It could dedicate over 650 gigalitres to environmental flows without competing with irrigators. And it would act as a flood buffer that protects downstream communities the way Dartmouth Dam does on the Murray, where 70% of flood events have been completely absorbed since it was commissioned. The Murray-Darling Basin produces $30 billion in agricultural output every year and supplies over a third of this country's food. Rebuilding Burrinjuck secures that food production, protects communities from floods, generates clean energy, delivers environmental water, and replaces a dam that is approaching the end of its structural life. Every year we delay this decision, the dam gets older and the cost of inaction gets higher.
I could stand here and talk for literally hours about what we're up against here and the inappropriate selection of the site that surrounds us. It's taking out of a 360-degree rural view that we currently have, that we came here for the peace, the quiet, the serenity, so that we could have our own little farming venture here. We've invested a lot of time and money in it and our lives for years and years now. And these properties that surround us, they want to take 278 degrees of that 360-degree view and turn it into industrial wasteland, black solar panels and noisy battery energy storage systems. So you'd be taking away our finances, you'd take our lifestyle, you'd take away from our stock, the noise from construction, the noise from an eventual industrial wasteland would be completely destroyed in every way, shape and form.
It's terrible, isn't it? New South Wales government, dreadful. Chris Minns, I'm not going out to see anyone. They don't like me. Chris Minns, you're a disgrace. Penny Sharp, you're a disgrace. We'll talk more about that next week. In fact, fingers crossed, we'll talk about that maybe now too. Jeff Court has had a long involvement in the rehoming and training of the Brumbies passively trapped from the Kosciuszko National Park. Jeff began participating in the trapping program in 2010. He studied and gained considerable experience and skills in successfully handling Brumbies to a high standard for rehoming. He's also put in a large amount of effort promoting the trainability of these Brumbies at shows such as the Murrum Bateman Field Days and Brumby-specific horsemanship clinics over the years. Now, Jeff believes this activity urgently requires more professionalisation and structure to assist these horses. He believes government support could make rehoming more viable and create higher standards of conduct. Jeff, we're going to try this out. We tried yesterday to no avail. You kept popping up like you were there and then disappeared. Greetings, how are you?
Good morning, Mike. How are you? I'm going well, thank you.
I am very excited, and there's a sigh of relief in the control room at the moment because we thought, oh my God, we won't get him again. But you're here at the moment. Tell me your views quickly on the current cull. And I think it's highly inhumane and I think highly unnecessary.
Yes, it is inhumane, Mike. It's a practice I think we all know that's been outlawed or pretty much not considered acceptable practice right around the world. But yeah, I guess the Minns Labor government, Penny Sharp and the National Parks and Wildlife Service have gone ahead and wrote their own operating procedures so that they could include it. And that's what's causing the outrage, right around New South Wales, Australia and the whole world, really.
Yeah, it's appalling, isn't it, how we treat our I think that's sort of a historical attempt here is the Brumby is so much part of Australia, and what we're doing is we're eliminating that part of Australia, and the ISC want to take us right back before Captain Cook got here. You'll have a dinosaur next to your yard before you know it. Tell me about rehoming, because we often hear that the Brumbies can be rehomed. To put it bluntly, is there a right way or a wrong way? And is there a lot of misinformation, without meaning to be misinformation, around the rehoming of the Brumbies?
Yes, Mike. Look, the training and handling of these horses does require a fair bit of skill and a good understanding of being safe around them, and that's safe for the people doing the training and safe for the horses as well. Yes, look, there's many ways of handling them and doing the actual training. I think the most important aspect is that it's done humanely, again, in every aspect, and effectively. I've learnt how to do that over the years. I did study under a professional horse trainer that had a lot of experience in it, so I was able to apply that and then just really master them skills. That's where I think now, like, there's a lot of people that are interested in getting into rehoming. They're going through doing the same trial and error that I did 15 or more years ago, and that's an area I think that either the government or someone we could put together a body or an organisation that would oversee that, like an independent organisation. But there's definitely room for sharing skills amongst, so that you can make more rehoming more productive by, I guess it's like making apprentices, like you can teach people how I do it and other people can teach people how they do it, because you've got scattered people all over the country that know how to do it, but then as new people come in, they have to go and figure it out, like reinvent the wheel again, if that makes sense.
So how do we get around that?
I've asked the National Parks and Wildlife Service, I mean, maybe 9 years ago I put it to them that we should have some funding for that. I was taken up into the Kimberley region of Western Australia in 2016 to try and share some of my horse training skills for an Indigenous work for the Dole scheme back then, and it wasn't. It didn't end up going ahead because they had unseasonal rain and got flooded out. But I put together an extensive program to do that, like step by step, based on the program that I learnt in handling wild horses. Mine's a step-by-step program. It's not how, you try this and you try that and you try the other and see what works. It's a step-by-step program that I learnt from a guy that was, he's a professional people trainer now, but he did his apprenticeship in training station horses up in central Queensland. They were totally unhandled horses. So he worked out the procedure and the method, and then he started teaching it, and he's in the States now. But so I have documented and put all that into place so that I do have a step-by-step program that I could teach people. If that
the rehoming, I would think that the welfare of the animal is a very important consideration of that. Does commercialisation get in the road of the good intentions of rehoming?
Maybe to a little extent. I don't think that much. It's more the difficulties of getting through the hoops from National Parks and Wildlife Service. Over the years, they've just made it harder, which is fair, but they got to the point where they're making it too hard for people now. With their criteria before they give the people the horses. And I think it all stems back from a couple of years ago when they had a problem with horses getting to people they shouldn't have been getting to, and then the horses weren't being used for the correct purpose. They were basically, being utilised for pet food rather than for trained horses for pets or riding horses, etc.
And I'm trying not to be overtly aggressive to the National Parks and Wildlife Service, not because I don't want to. I think they deserve it, but it's not a good look because they're it. Why have they? And correct me if I'm wrong here. The National Parks and Wildlife Service, I always thought were the really good guys. Have they got caught up in the politics of the ideology that's floating around at the moment to protect the environment and take it right back before Captain Cook got here? So
I think they have in recent years.
And that would then retard.
Yeah, I think they have in recent years. I'll go on, you go.
Yeah, now, wouldn't that then retard their ability to do the job properly?
Yes, I think it has. In the early years that I was involved, there was a manager that came in, and he was the guy I dealt with. He had to think about the environment and care for the environment because of his job, but on the other hand, he was very good to deal with. He had a passion to see the horses go to homes rather than going to the abattoir or basically, back then they didn't have aerial culling, so that wasn't an issue. But as the years went on, things changed, and then I think sort of, like back around 2018 or so, there seemed to be a shift in management of who was controlling the management of the wild horses and their rehoming. And then I'm not really aware of what happened within national parks, but they seem to have got to the point where they got very protective of what they were doing. They maybe started doing the wrong thing, I don't know. But now you've got to the point where it's very difficult for people to get accredited through the National Parks and Wildlife Service. From what I've been told, I'm not accredited anymore because my accreditations that I had in the early days didn't meet their standards. Even though I've got these skills, and I run clinics to teach people how to, problem solve and do things with their brumbies. I don't have that accreditation now. Maybe my property wouldn't. There's all these criteria. The property's got to have this and that and the other, which is fair enough. But I think we've got to try and help people, not just. And there is no real structure in helping people get through them hurdles.
It would seem that the National Parks and Wildlife Service, to protect the park, would rather just kill the horses and be done with it. Easier, faster. I mean, who gives a rat's? Who cares what the others think? Than to spend a little more time and to ensure that they have a good home and that rehoming is a successful venture. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, that's very sad, Mike. That is true. I feel that is true. It is very sad. When you look back at the work that myself and many of others of us have done over the, over the years, over the last 15 years, to try and promote the trainability of these horses. Like when I started trying to rehome them, I found that people didn't know anything about them in the domestic environment. So there wasn't homes for them. So I had to then get them out to shows, field days, festivals with good, well-trained horses, and then show them what they were, let the people see them. And that started to create a bit of a trend in people within the equine community wanting them. It become, so to speak, trendy to own a Brumby, which was a good thing for rehoming, and it still is, and there's still a desire within horse people to own them for various reasons. But yeah, I think now too, what I liken it to fishing in some respects for the National Parks and Wildlife Service. Their numbers, it's a very big story. Their numbers they quote, I think everyone will tell you that's not in the National Parks and Wildlife Service or the government or the Invasive Species Council, that the numbers that are being quoted that are there are not there. And so it's a lot harder for them to trap now because there's not many there. It's like fishing in a lake that's got thousands of fish, or fishing in a lake that's got 3 fish in it. You know where it's going to be harder to catch the fish. And that's why they've decided, well, the numbers, they can propagate the numbers to make it look like they're shooting a lot of horses. And shooting is a lot easier, I guess, than trapping, because there's not many to walk into the trap yards. And I think that's where their problem is. They don't want to spend the money now. They've got this ideal that they wanted, I believe, and I'll say it out front, they want total eradication, and that's it.
I can tell you that we're only adding a little bit to it, but we are adding to it. I can tell you that I'm violently opposed to any such thing as that, and I think the thought of the ISC, who are a bunch of thugs, that's what they are. I saw a old Four Corners show the other day, a couple of years old, wasn't that old, but a couple of years old, and they stacked it. It was incredible. They stacked it with friends and family of the ISC. It was incredible. And then they had a guy saying, "Bloody horses, I've been coming here all this time," and he's probably been coming there for 4 or 5 years, and said it's affecting the trout. The trout aren't a native product of the Kosciuszko National Park. They're an introduction. So if the ISC have their way, he'll have no trout. There'll be no horses. So we actually have to, and I think you're very right, they do want a total eradication, very similar to what they did in Victoria. How do you suggest, I know there's a rally tomorrow in Albury, get there at 9:30 and kicks off at 10. But how do we actually cut through the noise? Because the politicians, there's all sorts of comments about, carbon offsets and all that, the snowy 2 and all those sort of things being part of the catalyst for the extinction of these magnificent creatures. How do we cut through that noise or make the government do something? Because you still got a way to go before the election. They can do a lot of damage if there are so few numbers after telling everybody there's 16.6 trillion horses running around the place. How can you get through that noise and override that propaganda and that misinformation that they're putting out there that the park is being decimated, where in reality, at the current rate they're going through, they're going to get rid of all the horses. There'll be none left, and then there'll be nothing said, and Australia overall as a population will be none the wiser.
Yes, that's the I don't know, like the $8 million question. How we've got we have got a bit of time still till the next election, and I think people are, outside of the groundswell is growing. We've had Ashley Avis come over and from the US, and she's giving it a lot of publicity, and look. Shows like yourself, it's another thing, giving us a lot of publicity, and just the general numbers. It is a very hard thing because the government doesn't have any desire to stop. Penny Sharp has no desire whatsoever, and she seems to be in bed with the Invasive Species Council or Jack Goff in various degrees, and they have no desire to stop. Short of, I don't know, like there is a court injunction being put through at the moment. Whether that will have any success, it's a very, very difficult situation. And what you've got is you've got a lot of these are fighting this thing is just general members of the public. We've all got to turn up and go to work. When we're fighting a government, politicians that they're getting paid to fight back. They go home at night and they sleep, whereas the general public, and there's maybe hundreds of thousands of them turning up to protests in Sydney. As you said, the one in Albury tomorrow. It's just protest after protest at the moment. I'm thinking about holding another one around Canberra in the district of Canberra. I don't know yet, but that seems to be the only way, and try and let people see. There are people getting into the park and trying to document what's going on, but again, it's very difficult because the park is being so well guarded, I guess, by National Parks and Wildlife Service. It's just been a constant battle of chipping away, I think, Mike.
Yeah, it's I have to say, and again, I didn't take a whole lot of notice, because I was like most, and I saw this story and I kept thinking this is not quite right. So doing what we're doing, we started to, all of us here started to look into this, and it is truly a travesty. I've never seen such an abhorrent way humans are acting towards their fellow, in this case, fellow Australians, and there is the fanaticism by the ISC and the government to eradicate these horses. And I'm thinking, I mean, even in the UK, there's talk of the Dartmoor Hill Brumbies Dartmoor Hill ponies being knocked on their head too, because they're a pest. They've been there for thousands of years. The horses in the Kosciuszko National Park have been there 150, 200 years and fought in all the wars. And I just, Jeff, I don't understand people at the moment, how they can support this or turn their back on it and just ignore it, hoping it will go away, because once they're gone away, once those horses have gone, the chances of coming back is very remote, isn't it?
It is, Mike. They will be gone forever then. I've said that all along. What we're fighting for is, I've got the Brumbies in the paddocks here that have been rehomed through the rehoming program. We don't want to get to the situation where they're all we've got left. And when they're gone, the whole of the Brumby is gone. As we've seen, as you say, in Victoria and down in the Barmah Forest, down on the Murray River, in Western Victoria, they've been totally eradicated out of there. There's a long history too, like the war mounts and all that sort of thing. What I worry about is that the Minns Labor government doing this could set a bad example that might echo through the rest of the world in some areas, because people will say, well, look, they're doing it in Australia, we'd better do it here too. And then you've got this unprecedented cruelty, because, understanding the dynamics of a horse and and I guess the makeup of them, aerial culling is not humane. And I'm not an expert on it, but the experts that seem to know a lot about it and the anatomy of a horse, they're absolutely adamant that it is not humane. Like they've gone and rewritten the record books. Like, it used to be that you've got to have a pretty much instantaneous death. Now it's okay for them to be alive for a couple of minutes in agony before they actually die. And I think that if that starts to take off around the world, we're really going to go backwards as a civilization on Earth, that we do treat animals with that regard.
Yeah, it's. When I look around at the environment, they're destroying it to save it. If you look at the poor native wildlife, Great Dividing Range, with the introduction of the wind turbines there, and we've seen documented evidence that many of the animals have been killed, and yet we're supposed to be protecting them. And once they go in, 400 metres either side of it, animals can't live there because of the sonic sounds from those wind turbines. And then if you have a fire, you can't put it out, blah, blah, goes on. And it just shows you. I mean, I go home sometimes and I think, what's become of us? Where's our humanity? And I look at these poor horses and I think, wow, how could you do this to these animals? These are not something you can just discard and move on. These are part of our heritage. We need to be proud of who we are and what we've done and where we're going. And at the moment, I'm not terribly keen on where we're going or heading to, because it's not an Australia that I want. And I think we need to. I don't know how to do it. I've got no idea. I feel for the you and the people that deal with these magnificent creatures, and I've got simply no idea, Jeff. So if you have any answers, I mean, in the UK, they often talk about this tipping the edge over into a revolution. That won't happen here, because most people don't appreciate until they see it. They're never going to do that. Just quickly, is rehoming, it's not the entire answer, but is it part answer to it? Yes,
I think it is, Mike. And honestly, I think part of that picture has got to be counts, accurate counts that are somewhere in the ballpark and not all over the place. You know, you've already spoken in recent interviews with people about the numbers they come up with. You know, reproduction rates of 3.2%, and that's 300 over 300% in 12 or 18 months. Like, that's totally impossible. I think that the numbers are being stacked against the horses as well. So I would be thinking along the lines that if we could get the rehoming up and running, and the money that's spent on some of the money that's spent on aerial culling put towards rehoming, you know, in a managed way, rehoming might be able to absorb the majority of the horses that come out of the park, that just to control the numbers. But we're still fighting that battle where we're fighting people that are making excuses against that because they want them all gone and at any cost, and that's the problem.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's actually a terrible place to be. I mean, sometimes ignorance, you can get away with it because you don't have to acknowledge, but it is a terrible place to be, and I just despair. And I think if they're doing this to the horses, you know, which is so gentle and pure, what are they going to do to everything else? And I think the ISC is an atrocious organisation, and part of, you know, if I can help in any way, we need to deep dive into them, because I refer to them as bridge gluers, those that used to glue themselves to the roads and bridges. And I think they're a bunch of idiots. I think they're wackos. I think they're entirely dangerous, along with the New South Wales government and Penny Sharp. I think you are a threat. You're an entire threat to our future. And if I can do something to slow it down or stop it, we will do it. And I think, Jeff, I tip my hat off to you. I think you're all very, very honourable people, and I am very honoured to be able to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks, Mike, and thank you for the coverage you've given this issue. You know, it's worth its weight in gold, Mike. So I appreciate it, and from all the Brumby advocates around Australia and around the world, I'd like to thank you for that.
And we're there next week. So I mean, I keep wanting to wear my Hawaiian shirts, and I've been told most likely not. Do you think I can get away with wearing a Hawaiian shirt one day or not?
Oh, you could. You'd probably have 3 jumpers over the top of it, Mike.
A couple of tipples of whiskey just to warm up the body a bit. Jeff, thank you so much for your time. If somebody wants to find out more about, just say, what you do or how to be part of the cause or whatever, how do they do that?
Yeah, they can just search my name on Facebook. I operate under the name of Rivergums Brumby Horses as well, so that'll come up on Facebook, on my Facebook account as well. In the Canberra region, the weekend mid-October, we have the Murray Bateman Field Days. I'll be there with a team of around 10 or 12, and we'll take about, there'll be 10 or 12 helpers, and we'll take 6 to 7 Brumbies there. They'll be Kosciuszko Brumbies. We might have a Barmer Brumby there, a Northern New South Wales Brumby, but predominantly Kosciuszko Brumbies, and we'll be there doing Brumby entertainment shows and talking to the people, and also letting people come up with the kids and pat the horses and meet them up close, right through the weekend, the 2 days of the field day. So I don't have the exact dates on them, but I think if you were to Google Murray Bateman Field Days, it's just out between Yass and Canberra. It's a great weekend, and they're very supportive of the Brumbies. They've been doing that. Next year will be 10 years since I've been doing these entertainment shows. So,
thank you. I truly appreciate it. In fact, I wouldn't mind being there. I mean, horses are very big creatures, by the way. I like little dogs, but these horses are just, they're very big. And I often see people riding them. I think you're very brave to be on a horse, but they are beautiful creatures, these Brumbies, and we need to cherish them and learn to appreciate Australia for what it really is, and we were really a great country, and don't want to go down a path with the ISC controlling us that, we're going to go back before the days of Captain Cook, which is highly and totally insane. But that's probably what they're made up of, a group of insane people who are going to change the planet to save it. And in the meantime, they're destroying what we know and what we love about Australia. Jeff, thank you very much for your time. This is the Country Telegraph.
This is a 6-week tour. We are to collect and wipe any antiquated equipment, reconfigure servers, and bring this complex up to date. Any details, any specifics on this contract are on a need-to-know basis.
And we don't need to know?
Who decides who needs to know and who doesn't?
God. Okay.
This is just a layover, right? We're just refueling and then we're gonna move on to the multi-million-dollar research facility, right?
Let the dumpster fire begin.
You're not even gonna answer my question? He's not even gonna answer my question, he just walked away.
You okay, Sam?
A weird noise in there.
Yeah, I think there's an air leak in the chemical tank.
This is Dr. Laura Caldwell. It is August 25th, the 10th day of our expedition. Our logistical samples have come back with some unusual results.
What the hell is that?
I don't know. That's number 71 on the what the frick's about this place.
Who could do this? A bear?
He crossed over.
No, that's not what this is.
What the heck, man? You see another bug?
What's up?
This is a prank.
They're trying to get into our heads.
If any of you is pulling anything, I was knocking on Carol's door.
You know what I did?
Why are we here?
And on Prime at the moment, the guy with the white hair. God, we're getting old. Very, very dear friend of ours here, James O'Neill, or Michael, whatever he calls himself on camera, but very good actor too. Very nice guy. Has led me astray many times with that fourth margarita. I don't mind that, actually. Bring it on, baby. Instant Polls is our official sponsor. With the cutting-edge software, we can gather your opinions on the topics we discuss daily. And you can tune in for the live results at 8 a.m. The next day. Now, we encourage you to vote on the Country Telegraph poll topics every day and make your views count. Instant Polls offers a secure, user-friendly, anonymous and cost-effective voting platform that's adaptable to any industry or business. It's an ideal solution for organisations such as ours or larger to engage the teams, gather feedback, drive better management decisions and unlock deeper insights. Organisations can visit Instant Polls online today and create your organisation's first poll for free under your own brand. Use Instant Polls to increase your bottom line. Now at the Country Telegraph, as we say, you can have your say each day. We're grateful to Instant Polls for making our program more interactive and giving you a fun and easy way to voice your opinions. Today's poll is, do you believe that farmers and food production are under attack in Australia? Just use the QR code on our screen to vote. Each vote is verified by 2FA and the system will only allow you to vote once. So no cheating allowed. You have 24 hours to vote before the result is broadcast on the Country Telegraph. Now, the link will also be published on our Facebook page from 9 a.m. Share the link and ask your family and friends to participate. The link is just, no, wrong side. Where am I? That way. There we are. There. See you next to me? See you next to me? There it is. Just there. Look. That's it. That's where you go. Click with your camera. Thank you very much for your participation and your company this week. Yet another week has come and gone. We're getting older. Next week, we're at the High Country from Cooma onwards, and we're going to be broadcasting from there. It will be at lunchtime, though, from noon till 2 or thereabouts, and we'll talk to all the people about this terrible stuff that's happening with our most majestic creatures, the brumbies, ones we should be hugging and loving, not shooting and just letting discard there for the pigs to eat and for them to decay and look terrible. You don't do that to the brumbies, simple as that. So fingers crossed next week. We have fingers, legs, toes, everything is crossed that we can connect next week. But we'll find out very shortly. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much again. This is the Country Telegraph, and I'm going to leave you with this song. Listen to the lyrics and weep. Thank you very much. Catch you on Monday.
Tell my fool I kept on running. Tell my mare I heard her cry. Tell the mountain I belonged here. Tell the wind I said goodbye. Brumby hoofprints etched for generations in the snow. I've watched the foals become the mares, the stallions old and slow. Here in the snowy mountains where my life began, across hills, ridges and open plains my fellow brumbies ran. I've led them through winter storms, drought and summer rain, but I can't outrun what follows now. Shield my family from this pain. My ancestors crossed the oceans, but I was born upon this land. These mountains are my birthplace, the Snowies are my clan. These mountains hold our memories, our family history. If home is where you're raised, then this is where we should be. Tell my foal I kept on running. Tell my mare I heard her cry. Tell the mountain I belonged here. Tell the wind I said goodbye. Stay close beside me, little one. The thunder isn't rain. The sky itself is hunting us, and I cannot stop the pain. I gather those I love and turn to face the sound. Though every instinct tells me run, there's nowhere left for us now. These mountains hold our memories, our family history. If home is where you're raised, then this is where we should be. I fall upon the ground, thunder again and again. My heart grows quiet as bullets rain. I thought I had more seasons, more rivers left to roam, more sunrises with my Kosciuszko clan before the mountains called me home. Tell them I was born here, my grandfathers fought their wars. Remind them that this was our home, the snowy mountains were ours. Tell my foal I knew her mare, I heard her cry. Tell the mountain I belonged here. Tell the wind I said